Hi everybody, Angel here with ConfidenceIsCatchy.com. Thank you so much for tuning in to our very last Takeaway Tuesday. I can't believe we've got to 12 weeks, but here we are. And our last challenge that we threw down last Thursday was all about labels and the labels that we use to identify ourselves. And so to back up for a second, this whole challenge, this entire series is about initiating consciousness and initiating our thought process into feeling more confident, being more present with ourselves, being more out with ourselves, more just being able to show ourselves off a little bit, little by little baby steps, and being able to feel confident in doing that. And so all of the challenge that we've presented here over the last 12 weeks have really been something that would basically allow people to grow a little bit and to find themselves, if you will. There's not a lot of opportunity usually for people to do that on a regular basis, and so I hope that this entire challenge series has gotten you out of your comfort zone just a little bit and allowed you to really get conscious about some of the things that you do that you may not realize you do, or some of the background noise that's operating within us that keeps us stuck. That was really the whole point of this challenge and the whole point of all of the challenges here. And this one in particular kind of came to me, as I mentioned to you, because I noticed that I was using language in such a way as to not address something that I felt like I needed to address later. So when you label something, when you label yourself or when you label others, what you're doing is really kind of creating categories, right? It's human nature to separate people into categories. But in our current culture, especially over the last, let's say, 18 months, politically, we've been separating people quite a bit. And labels, and the labels we assign both to ourselves and to others, really do matter. And how we use our language to separate people in our mind, categorize people in our mind, really does play quite a part in how we treat each other. And also when you use labels on yourself, it matters how you treat yourself, right? Because the language you speak to yourself is the most important language of all. And so as you were going through this challenge, I hope you found, as I did, that sometimes the labels that we use for ourselves are not, they're not always kind. We don't always use our nice voice when we're thinking up here about ourselves. And sometimes they're words that probably we wouldn't let anyone else call us, right? We wouldn't let anyone else use that word to define us, and yet sometimes we use it on ourselves. And so I hope that what you found in doing this was some language in your mind that you could work on. And I also hope you found some really strong, positive labels that you want to hold on to, that you want to make a part of who you are and that you want to expand upon. And that's really the labels that I want to project forward. It's almost like if you give me, somebody out in the world, and you're asking me, what do I think of that person? Obviously, we want to give a positive review anytime we can. If you were going to give a eulogy, if you were going to write a letter of recommendation, what wonderful things would you say about somebody? And if you can find those labels to identify you, things that you feel good about as part of your personality, that's really a great part of this last challenge. There's also some negative things, and that gives you something to work on. And then really what I was after, and what I asked you to really look for, is as you were using your labels to identify who you were and what you believed in, to look for the things that didn't kind of go together, like the things that normally would be opposites, but that are actually both true. And the example that I gave was that I'm both a single child and a sister. And, as I shared that with people were like, yeah, I can understand that. Your brother was so much older than you and had gone off to the Navy by the time you remember him being around. So I was grown up as a single child. I have all the single child experiences, latchkey kid and the whole 9 yards. And yet I have a brother, right? And I also had other people say, I'm both, one of my friends is like, I'm both a medical professional, but I'm also kind of a goof. And for her, that's true, and that's what makes her lovable, and that's why the people that love her the way they do. She's able to let her guard down and be fun and be silly, but still know what she's talking about at work. Another one that I liked, and I actually talked with somebody about this, was the nice bitch. Somebody called me a nice bitch once, and I was like, yeah, I am a really nice bitch. I'm a bitch when I need to be, and I'm super, super nice. And so it was funny because I actually have a friend at work now that she tells people I'm nice, but she's also like, yeah, but you're also a bitch. So it's kind of like, I'm getting validation on both of those. And the thing I want you to think about is, there's this thing when you go to the equator, right? If you go to the equator and standing, or even a state line, let's just make it even easier. If you're standing on the state line, right, and you have 1 foot in Tennessee and 1 foot in another, right, 1 foot in Connecticut and 1 foot in Massachusetts, whatever it is, you don't think about yourself as being 2 different people. You don't think about yourself as being split in half, right? You're still one person. Just because you're standing on a line or standing with 1 foothold in 2 different places doesn't mean that you're 2 different people. And this is no different. When you label yourself, and I'm going to use victim versus survivor, when you are standing on that line, right, it's both. You're both of those things. You can put yourself into the mindset of where you were a victim, and you can also put yourself in the mindset of having survived whatever it was. And in that moment, in being both, and being 100% both, meaning that you're not 2 people, you're 1 person. Being able to be both is where the inspiration comes from. And when you talk to people that have been through trauma or been through challenge or been through whatever they've been through, and everyone's been through something, what always seems to strike me when I see people like that is that it's within the ability to be on both sides of that line that gives them their magic. And so as we're in a political climate right now where we're trying to divide people, where everyone's categorizing themselves and labeling themselves and grouping themselves, what I want you to remember in doing that is that you're forgetting that all of us have a duality. All of us are able to straddle a line. And sometimes that line is political, and sometimes that line is gender, and sometimes that line is age, and sometimes that line is motherhood or parenthood, and sometimes that line is trauma or abuse or whatever it is that your life has brought you to. In straddling the line, it allows you to connect with people on both sides and bring people together and inspire and build something better together than apart. And so as you look at your opposites and you look at your list of labels and you look for those opposites within you, try to remember that those things that make you straddle the line are the places where you can bring people together and not keep people apart. And so I hope that that's what you got out of this, or that you hopefully will get out of this challenge as you look back over your list in the next couple days. So thank you for joining us for week 12. I can't believe we got through all 12 weeks. And for those of you that want more, there will be one final broadcast on Thursday, so I can pick the winner for our raffle, and also kind of give you a heads up on what's coming in the future. So I will broadcast again on Thursday at some point. It might not be right at 4 o'clock like normal, but you'll have some indication from me of who's won the challenge, the 12-week challenge raffle, and also what to look forward to on the Confidence is Catchy page over the next couple of months. I thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk quickly on Thursday. Have a great day.